we go. For the final time in our lives, more likely than not, the city of Oakland hosted a professional sporting event as every single team has left that area. Now, the Warriors are still in the region, but they're not on the other side of the bay. I mean, they're on the other side of the bay. They're not where they were, and so it's a different animal. But there no professional sports left. In the last 15 years, the Raiders, the A's, and the Warriors have all vacated the mass exodus out of Oakland. But the last one, turn out the lights, the party's over. The team that will soon be formally known as the Oakland Athletics, playing their final home game and much anticipated event. Someone named J.J. Bleday, I believe is his name, never heard of him, hit an RBI single, and he also had a nice defensive play out in the outfield and center field as the Athletics went out in style, their final game ever at the Coliseum in Oakland, and unless there's a major snafu, a massive snafu, they're done. They're out, and they beat the Rangers 3-2, the final, on a nice, sunshiny Thursday afternoon. There was a sellout crowd of almost 47,000. Beautiful blue sky, looked marvelous. September baseball, and that's it. It's all over. So let us discuss the question, how did you react to the final home game for the Oakland vintage of the Athletics? So I've got Evangelical, Razzle Dazzle, and Southwest Airlines. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make a stale hot dog, which is what I think the A's have been selling the last couple of years, stale hot dogs. But number one. Now, I'm going to preface everything I say with a qualifier. I have no skin in the game. I think you know that. My allegiances are not with the Oakland Athletics. But you can add this to the many lists of franchises in my life as a sports fan that have zonked out of the city they're in. I have seen the Montreal Expos. Bye-bye, the Seattle Supersonics. See you later. I've seen teams relocate multiple times. The Raiders, in my life, they were in Oakland. They went to L.A. They went back to Oakland. Now they're in Vegas. The Rams went to St. Louis, came back to L.A. The Chargers, San Diego Chargers, they're back in L.A. They were originally in L.A., not in my lifetime. They were in L.A. In San Diego in my lifetime, and then they moved to L.A. And there have been 3 teams that have changed their names that I can think of off the top of my head. The Devil Rays, now the Rays. The Cleveland Indians are now named after a bridge. The Washington Redskins have a filler name, Commanders. And now you can add the Athletics to Big Ben's big board of sports franchises that have altered their standing. And listen, I didn't watch the whole game. We were busy with the TV show, but I watched the end of it, and it seemed like you had a lot of people very emotional, as you would imagine. To my surprise, there was not violence. There was not mass hoodlinism. People weren't stealing everything, although there were things stolen from the Coliseum, but it wasn't like I thought it was going to be. But watching on my television, and I wasn't there, and maybe somebody will call in that was there or has more of an eyewitness, boots on the ground feel to it, but when watching it on TV, and I was very tired when I was watching it, it felt evangelical to me. That you had this energy, there was this passion in the crowd, and it was like this very powerful, it's almost like a religious revival type thing, right? They were alternating the rhythmic chanting, sell the team, and other bad words, and then let's go Oakland. And so you had nostalgia, a lot of people that grew up as kids going to that ballpark and loved the A's back when they used to try to win and put good players on the field every year. And you had this universal bond, this brotherhood of all these people from different backgrounds who were united for one common purpose. to say F you, John Fisher, that scumbag owner of the Athletics, right? This communal event where it's a mourning process, but yet there's unity in the community, and you had men, women, and children there who grew up, some still growing up, worshiping the Athletics, what the Athletics used to stand for. And they all came together. I mean, they haven't been playing there since 1968. That's a good run. But one last time. That's it. Now, page 2 here. What are you going to remember about the Oakland era of the Athletics? So I'll go first here, and you can call in if you want later and give me some of your thoughts. But for me, as an outsider, and I've been to that ballpark a few times over the years, not many times. Covered some football games there, baseball a few times. Not many. I've been to Fenway Park more than I've been to the ballpark in Oakland, for example. But my memories of the Athletics just in the whole, wide-angle lens. In my youth, I grew up in a time where the A's, believe it or not, were the cool kids. They had swagger, and they always seemed to deliver the dagger. And one of the all-time great World Series upsets, I should say, was the Dodgers and the A's. And the reason that was such a big upset, the Dodgers were not that good, but the A's seemed invincible. And they had all the pizzazz and all that magic. And you think of the different players that have played in Oakland that stand out to me. The pizzazz of Ricky Henderson, right? Run, Ricky, run. The charisma of the steroid-infused Bash brothers with Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco. And I'll also remember, on a selfish note, that I briefly did some work for the radio broadcast of the Athletics. I'll probably talk more about that on my podcast. But I have fond memories of interactions with Bill King, the longtime broadcaster for the A's who passed away a number of years ago, and Ken Korak, who he's been there a long time now, but he was a young whippersnapper when I started, and he was had come over from minor league baseball, was, I think, the broadcaster for the Las Vegas minor league team. So fond memories of all of that, right? All of that. And I think we actually have a clip of the rhythmic chanting, just to give you an idea of what it was like, that evangelical situation. Let's go to the audio. Here's what it sounded like, a little taste, so you can kind of go and hear what it sounded like.
And I ask you for one more time to start the greatest cheer in baseball. Let's go, Oakland!
All right, so that's what it sounded like. Now, final point here. What are the odds, just between me and you, what are the odds that we will see baseball return to Oakland? So using Maller Math as the mad mathematician and sports handicapper, I'm going to crunch the numbers here. The Maller Sportsbook odds, it's not 0, but it's plus 9,000. Plus 9,000. Now, why is it plus 9,000? All right, the reason it's plus 9,000 is because that's 1%, right? It's kind of like Southwest Airlines. You're at the airport there in Oakland, and there's two people. There's Slim and there's None, and Slim is in Group A, getting ready to board the flight there on Southwest. Outbound from Oakland. And here's why. Now, I mentioned earlier in this Maller monologue that we have seen teams leave, and we have seen them return. The LA Rams left for 20 years, an entire generation, over 20 years, without the NFL, and they're back. Now they're back being the LA Rams. The Cleveland Browns left to become the Baltimore Ravens, and they're back. You could also argue the Indianapolis Colts, who were the Baltimore Colts. I failed to mention them in my lifetime. That happened. But Baltimore got another team. Not the Colts, but they got another team. The Charlotte Hornets relocated to New Orleans, and there's now another version of the Charlotte Hornets. So there is a shot, but it's different in Oakland. Now, my theory is that nothing lasts forever, and that the lawless Old West of Oakland is not going to be like that. At some point, the good people will get fed up living in debauchery and will put their foot down and say enough is enough, and someone will actually come in and clean that place up and make it wonderful again. It's certainly not going to happen anytime soon with the politics there, but at some point, nothing lasts forever. They will actually arrest people. They'll actually punish people for committing crimes on society. That will happen, right? So when that happens, that's the first step. The other problem, though, is the Giants. It's hard for me to imagine that the San Francisco Giants are going to allow baseball. Now, they say, well, technically they don't own that area. Well, the Giants are going to claim ownership now. Now that the A's are leaving, they're going to say, well, we're going to market over there. It's our territory, and we're going to get people to take the BART over and watch the Giants. So I'll leave it as a 1% chance because there's probably some kid right now who's maybe 7 or 8 years old who loves baseball, some wackadoodle, and that kid will grow up. That kid will become very smart and very successful in business and create something amazing, and that little child will become a gazillionaire, and that little kid will become a middle-aged dude or dudette, and they will grow up, and they were like, I want to bring baseball back. I remember going to baseball games with my family, and they'll have enough money, and they can make it happen. But that's the 1% chance. Outside of that, forget about it.